Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of Foreclosurepedia Podcast. Foreclosurepedia Podcast, a presentation of the Foreclosurepedia Radio Network, which premieres each Sunday evening at 2300 hours. I'd like to talk to everybody this evening a little bit about some issues that we've had ongoing with attempting to receive pay for services rendered upon HUD properties. I'm pretty sure everybody is well aware. We actually had some YouTube videos, which this is actually showing up on right now on our YouTube channel, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. You can see, actually, when you come to our site now, we've shot together a pretty decent little interface. If you ever just want to go to them all, kind of got that old Matrix look to it, populated up, and but anyway, let's book on over here to the main page. And one of the big issues that we were having, the problem was that we weren't able to get paid by a couple of nationals, and AMSREO and CWIS. I want to make sure I fully explain what I mean we weren't able to be paid by them. AMSREO and CWIS never hired us directly. What had happened, and I'm sure everybody in the industry is familiar, order mills generally, or if you want to call them regional contractors, however you might want to phrase that, they had actually hired us, and in this instant case, it has specificity to jobs we did in both Alabama and Tennessee. And the people whom had hired us to do the work was actually Premier Property Management Specialists, PPMS. Now, is that their name? Is it not? I don't know, because they have South at the end of it. And when we come over here to the About Us, you can read through here, and I never really did figure out the whole deal. And I actually do not know if the nationals, AMSREO and CWIS, really ever figured out their paper trail. But anyway, with that said, you can see, going back to the main page, AMS has settled the claim, and we wrote up a really big article on this, and I'd really encourage everybody to go read this. Until today, excuse me, CWIS for whatever reason did not want to pay us. And I don't know if they just simply had to go through more paperwork, if perhaps Mathis and Lambert, that's Jason Mathis, the CEO and owner of PPMS South, and Brandon Lambert, his COO, Chief Operating Officer. I don't know if they couldn't get a hold of them, if nobody really knew what was going on. I don't know. But today, John Bravacos, and I apologize if I'm butchering that name, but this is John's law office. He's actually up in Pennsylvania, and that's a whole nother byline that I'm going to begin to investigate for an actual upcoming article. You know, CWIS is actually out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I found it really interesting that they and the term he uses is general counsel. So anyway, I found it very interesting that that John represented them, and I did a little digging on him, and he actually used to do work for HUD. So that could have been simply the reason, that since he was already familiar with the processes and such, you know, perhaps that's why he is retained. I don't know. But at the end of the day, and we are going to spin up an article about this, at the end of the day, CWIS has agreed to pay us for the outstanding claims that we had against the HUD properties. Excuse me. A little bit of background on this. United States Department of Labor at the end of the day, most of the situations you're going to encounter dealing with not getting paid on federal contracts, federal HUD and such, in one way or another, you can route this through DOL, and with you'll actually go buying through acts such as this, the McNamara-O'Hara Service Contract Act. You need to remember those three letters in that acronym: Sierra, Charlie, Alpha. If you're ever going to really get down in the trenches and do your own work, if in the worst case scenario, if you have to, you need to familiarize yourself with SCA and also with the Wage and Hour Division. Now, when you contact your local office, they're going to pretty much tell you they don't know what you're talking about. During M&M2, the phase of the contract that HUD had, there was actually some litigation, and the Department of Labor became involved to ensure that contractors got paid. So this is just, some background information. Over on our website, over, excuse me, at foreclosurepedia.org, we actually have a paid section, if you will, an industry insider section that gets into all this, the forms, the whole case, the format, everything. We actually put together a package for contractors. We do not give, render, issue, etc. ad nauseum legal advice. What we do is we equip you, the contractor, with the tools to get those funds that you're entitled to in the unfortunate event that you cannot get paid. So once again, we just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on precisely what was going on. When we reached out to AMSREO, the gentleman that we spoke with there, I can't say enough good about him. I just can't. And currently, I cannot cite his name due to confidentiality and Privacy Act situations. I really wish I could, because I have nothing but the utmost respect for this individual. And thus that he, as an individual, is a withholding of his company, AMSREO, and so likewise I have nothing but the utmost respect for AMSREO. and what's actually happening here, and this to me is just really the most unfortunate situation that there is. AMSREO, as with most nationals, really is being put in a very unfair and unfortunate position. And what that is we have renegade regional order mills. I mean, I'm just going to call them what they are. They're order mills. These companies place the nationals squarely in the crosshairs, because how litigation works is this: everybody, all parties have to be sued. And that's just how it is. In this instant case, AMSREO, for part of the claims, controlled the contract and those properties up here. So they had to be, excuse me, they had to be named. In the other instant case, CWIS controlled the other half of the properties. They had to be named. They controlled the contract. So, here a regional has put a national in a very unfortunate, a very unflattering, and a very compromising position. And I think that's unfair, because what happens is when these regionals are out there burning bridges and destroying relationships between contractors and the industry in and of itself, the nationals, by and large, most of the time, are taking a lot of undeserved, I feel, heat. Additionally, something that I wanted to mention is that I feel in this industry, time and again, all of us, myself included, make no mistake, for those of you out there whom both personally know me have listened to me, have read through my stuff, all of you know that I'm an extremely abrasive individual. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. I'm ex-military. I'm the chief operating officer of our company. And so at the end of the day, my job is to look out for the financial stability both of my company and of my family. And like I tell most people that I interact with, it's not personal, it's business, and that's what it is. This situation here, many are going to say, oh, well, that's an incredible victory, you know, and hoorah. You know, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm just coming off the flu. What it is bittersweet. Because first of all, it shouldn't be characterized as a victory. Everybody lost in this situation. Everybody did. We lost because we actually had to invest the time and the effort to go not only do the work, but then to attempt to get our compensation. The Nationals, in this specific instant case, lost because now there's public information that is out there that documents the case. And I mean, it's legal. We didn't slam them. We stated nothing but the facts, covered under the First Amendment and plethora of other laws. But what I'm driving at is they should have never had to have been compromised. PPMS South, Lambert and Mathis, regardless of my personal feelings towards them, they've lost. Because now they're going to be treated like the plague. Nobody, at least with any common sense, is going to risk touching them with a 10-foot stick. They're going to be in their own little lepers colony. I venture the guess that they would have difficulties even getting a job scrubbing shitters in Shell gas stations. Maybe they'll be able to. I don't know. I wish them the best. What I'm really driving at here, though, is that we all have a tendency to raise hell and to talk about when things are bad. All of us, myself included, are always ready to launch the condemnations and the visceral complaints. A lot of us, though, do not take the time when something is done right to report on that, to discuss that, to tell our fellow contractors about that. And so that's what I'm wanting to do here tonight. I want to talk about the fact that CWIS LLC and AMSREO both stepped to the plate and both paid debts that their regional order mills refused to do. Let me rephrase, strike that. Whether PPMS refused, did not refuse, fell asleep at the wheel, I don't know. You know, I don't, because I'm not inside their head. I don't have any quote-unquote listening devices down there at their house. I don't know what happened. But, you know, AMS and CWIS both realized that this was an unfortunate situation, that it was occurring during the holiday season, and they stepped to the plate. And I just really wanted to take the time to tell everybody out there about that, because I don't want anybody to get the feeling or the sense that because this situation has come up that they should shy away from these companies. Now, CWIS, I've never had any direct interactions with, other than, you know, trying to get my money and some correspondence back and forth. So how their daily, you know, ins and outs work, I don't know. I've never personally heard anything bad for them. If somebody called me tomorrow morning and said, hey, do you think I ought to do some work for them? I'd tell them a categoric yes. I mean, they have not displayed any behaviors, or they have not followed through with any type of methodologies that would make me nervous about them. AMSREO, we have directly worked for them, and in the past we've had no issues, and subsequently on this situation we've had no issues. Once again, it falls right back squarely upon the regional order mill. And this is something we're going to get into over the holidays. I'm putting together, we're still editing them. I'm doing a large workup on order mills. Excuse me. Because I think this is something that the nationals, all the nationals, need to sit down and talk about. And whether they talk about it amongst themselves or perhaps through an organization like NAMFS, whomever it might be, these people need to start to be addressed, because we have a lot of these order mills that are just screwing contractors. And to tacitly continue to turn a blind eye, and I'm not saying that's happening. In my opinion, though, the statistics are beginning to show a pattern. And I'm not one that believes in coincidence. I think, though, and once again, this will, I'm going to tread out in some deeper water here. I really feel that the nationals, in the same way that companies go to a credit agency, nationals should begin to take a look at, okay, Company A, how many complaints are there? Company B, what's going on with them? And then, to be able to do all that, they need to initiate some type of procedure where contractors can formally submit, information, a claim, a grievance. Because had this situation with CWIS and AMSREO walked its course, this would have been bad all the way around for everybody. Litigation, I would estimate in upwards of 90-some% of litigation is generally settled out of court. If it wasn't settled out of court, we could never have a judicial system, because we couldn't hear all the cases. However, as a part of that process, you have a process that's called discovery. And discovery is where one side requests of the other information that's specific to their case. If the other side doesn't like it, they might file an in limine motion or whatever to not have the evidence admitted. But long story short of all that, it's a very long and time-consuming and tedious process. Any type of litigation is. It costs everybody all the way around money and time. Now, time to me is important. And what I like to say is, whatever it might be, hell, that's 15 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back. Who's going to pay me for my time? You see. So once again, in this instant case, it worked out well. Why did it work out well? Because I have taken the time over the course of my life to learn the law. I mean, make no mistake about that. I've been fortunate, though, that I've been able to educate myself in law and business, politics, and gardening. I actually like to garden. But, all jokes aside, I do believe the nationals need to step to the plate, and they need to start, cleaning house on these order mills. I mean, they do it with us, the contractors. They charge us a fee. PK Management anyway did $25. I'm not too good at math. $25, on 1,000 contractors to run a bullshit background check. Hell, that's $25,000. So surely out of that money to run that background check, they could set aside $100 or $1,000 and create a form, a PDF online form, so that when contractors, and let me step back just a little bit. This isn't just PK Management. I was using them as an example because they, at least with us, they charge us $25 for a background check. So if you're going to background check the contractors, and you're going to hold us accountable, and you're going to threaten to sue us, and you're going to threaten to take our livelihoods and our bank accounts and our life and our family and everything else under the sun, why not apply those same standards to the order mills? Why not? we're fortunate in the fact that as a business, we actually set aside funds and we create accounts. When we talk about litigation and such, we have a war chest set aside for that. The average sole proprietor does not. And so that, that's a problem. That's a problem. Because everybody in this industry, everybody from the sole proprietor or the laborer for that sole proprietor all the way up to the White House, everybody knows that there is a problem going on with how these order mills are screwing people. And I really believe that the solution is one of two things. A, the logical, the sane solution to this is for the industry to come together, set up a blue ribbon panel, maybe take 3 to 6 months to talk about, okay, how should we do the form? How should we prepare data? How should we be able to semantically search it? How should we store it? Who should have access to it? And then, from there, then that committee would make recommendations out to its, membership or the industry at large and say, hey, this is what we feel should actually come down. NAMFS, I believe, would actually be an incredible association to do this. They're already well equipped for this type of process. They interact with the government on a daily basis. I've spoken with several people up there. These people, the ones I have spoken with, truly are interested in what's going on in the industry. And albeit on the one hand they may seem a little one-sided, I believe overall that something like this would actually be very good. This could be something that could easily be implemented, because they're not ordering anybody to do anything, but they would have the ability to at least begin to store and collate data. Or B, we don't want to talk about B. B is a very dark road. B is where the sign reads that the light at the end of the tunnel has permanently been shut off. Because what will happen eventually is that the government will say too many people are having funds withheld from them for no legitimate reason whatsoever. Those funds that are being withheld from them generate in part from taxpayer dollars. And a portion of those taxpayer dollars are stimulus funds. And so at some point in time, if the government comes riding in on its broke down little horse trying to play hero with a bunch of chain mail so heavy that it broke the horse's back, the problem is going to be that we're going to have overregulation and everything's going to go south. But I'm not going to belabor the subject, because this goes into a whole nother series on our podcast over there in the premium section at foreclosurepedia.org. I just wanted to say, AMSREO and CWIS buying through their counsel, their lawyers stepped up to the plate. They've handled their obligations to us, and I wanted to take the time to both thank them and the individuals involved in that for squaring us up for works rendered. What I believe, though, that did not happen, at least I didn't see it, is that PPMS, that brand, or PPMS South, whomever they are, I don't know, Brandon Lambert and Jason Mathis got a walk. These are people that sat down in front of witnesses and lied. They lied. And they got a pass. What does that communicate to people? When you can withhold funds for no legitimate reason or purpose whatsoever, and there are absolutely no penalties, does not convey a good message at all. So I'll leave you all with that. If you have any questions or comments, or you just want to drop a line, give me a shout out. COO@foreclosurepedia.org. Thank you all for tuning in and have a good evening.